Sports Video Group's Jason Dachman. We're at the SVG Sports OTT Forum in New York City, and I'm with Daniel Cohen of Octagon Media Consulting. Daniel, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's get a little background on Octagon. You guys are heavily involved in the sports media space, deal with a lot of the big players in this area. Who are some of those big partners that you guys have helped out over the last couple of years since you joined?
Sure. So the Octagon Media Consulting is coming up on our second anniversary, which is pretty exciting. And there was really a need in the marketplace for a data-driven valuation, negotiation, support structure. Prior to, a lot of deals got done on the golf course.
Sure.
And a lot on just general Nielsen ad rates, that kind of information. Being part of Interpublic Group, we get access to so much additional proprietary data that's, as we're living in this digital world and more data is becoming available, it has to be part and critical to be part of that next negotiation. So now we're working with every major sports league in the US. We're working across a lot of out-of-term international deals. So I think if you just look at the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, the NHL, they're all trying to figure out what's next in terms of their international distribution.
Right.
We're in the middle of a lot of those conversations, research, valuation, strategy work. It's been exciting.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens over the next few years with everything beyond the domestic rights. There's all kinds of exciting things happening there. We have seen an explosion in OTT platforms over the last few years, no question, especially in the sports area.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, as a guy that lives in the trenches day to day when it comes to the rights, how has this explosion of all these OTT services impacted the value of rights and maybe differentiated different levels of linear rights versus digital rights?
So having digital content and having a streaming platform has become table stakes. If you don't have one, you don't connect with today's fans, let alone start to build your fandom for the next generation. That said, there still is the imbalance, though, in terms of capacity, viewership, and dollars. So what we do a lot of work with is trying to find that right balance when it comes to packaging those rights. Rights fees, typically for the premium sports properties, have gone up in the US. Europe, they're coming down a little bit. So we need to think about the cost, the monetization strategy, and then also ultimately making sure that the treasure chest, which is still those linear deals, are protected.
Right. You don't want to cannibalize the golden goose.
No, not at all. And I think what we've seen and what we've helped to negotiate is a lot stronger partnerships between traditional broadcasters as they evolve into the digital space and those property rights holders. And working together to partner on those direct-to-consumer efforts. Not to say it doesn't turn some heads when the NBA wants to cut up the last few minutes of the fourth quarter and offer that up for 99 cents. But everyone's trying to figure it out still. And at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to put as much content in as many places as possible. And digital consumption is just where the trend continues to move forward.
Just briefly to close out, grab your crystal ball for me, and what are you thinking in terms of where the market is headed overall for sports rights? Are we going to keep seeing escalation? Are we going to keep seeing the value increase? You mentioned Europe is seeing a little bit of a different situation right now. What do you expect the next year or two?
So I think you have to look at it region by region, right? Sports rights fees as a blanket statement is pretty tough to give a general testament on. But in the U.S., we see it continuing to grow. U.S. sports rights fees have still some bandwidth to grow, especially those premium sports, right? So while the allocation of, say, an ESPN, a CBS, an NBC, a Turner, the allocation of their budgets have been spent more so on the premium properties. It's creating opportunities for the tier 2, tier 3 properties to get into that digital direct-to-consumer space. So the U.S., healthy, going to continue to grow. Other markets like Asia continue to grow. Europe is seeing a bit of a leveling off. However, Amazon is quite aggressive in the UK and soon to announce possibly, heard it here first, a major deal coming in France. Yep. And so with all that said, it's appointment viewing.
Yeah.
right? Live sports is what keeps the bundle together, and because of that, you're going to find buyers that want to continue to buy at premium prices.
Well, we're excited to see what happens over the next couple of years. We'll definitely be checking in with you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
For more reports from the SVG Sports OTT Forum, stay tuned to sportsvideo.org.